What's going on, campers? Campfacer here. Welcome back to another Texas Chainsaw Massacre the game video. Today we're going to dive into some things we already know, some predictions, what we might want in the game that's not necessarily confirmed to be there. We're going to kind of go over this a little bit. So let's get into it.
Campfacer.
Okay, so before we dive in the video, I want to thank all my camp members, especially the Tall Boy Slasher members. You guys are awesome. If you guys are looking to become a member of the channel, I'll put a link to in the description below, and I thank you guys. Moving along, Texas Chainsaw Massacre the game. In case anybody out there in the gaming world, which I don't understand, if you're into gaming, you should already know about this, but if you don't, there is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre the game coming in 2023. We don't have a date as of yet. They just the developers that worked on Friday the 13th, the game, Gun Media or Gun Interactive, announced that it will be coming out sometime in 2023. That being said, the game is a multiplayer asymmetrical horror game based after the 1974 original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But this game is going to be months leading up to the events that happened in 1974, a film that we've seen before. So it kind of brings a little backstory and some new characters, and maybe even explains why we see some of those dead body bones in the bone room that Pam trips in the movie. So it's kind of interesting that we get to play a prequel, kind of, sort of, months leading into that event. They have announced the some of the playable characters, the victims that you get to play as. There is a little bit of a story going on, a missing girl named Maria Flores. They're kind of teasing us with her missing story over on an official Instagram that they created for Maria Flores. And yeah, they've shown us screenshots. And as you can see behind me, not too long ago, about a few weeks ago, they announced and showed the one of the official gameplay trailers. And now, you guys, this game, I'm going to tell you guys why it's a little different than all the other asymmetrical games. One, it's stealth-based. I mean, I know Dead by Daylight is stealth-based type of game. It's not about attacking the killer. You can't really attack the killer in that. It's more about trying to repair, survive, and then escape. This game is kind of similar to that, but different. This game, there's 3 killers at the same time versus 4 survivors or victims at the same time. So the balance, they're working on balancing this game, and it's going to have to be done right to make it work. So I'm very interested in seeing the pace of this game, how easy it is to maybe like hide, because I can't see them adding a sense ability like they did in Friday the 13th, where Jason just hits sense, and if he's nearby, he can see people lit up red across the map and be like, okay, there's that person, I'm going to go grab them. This game, there shouldn't be something like that. You should be able to duck and hide behind an object, like even in the same room, in the killer, whether you're a Leatherface or Drayton or the hitchhiker. You should just be able to accidentally walk right by them and make that moment terrifying. I'm pretty sure that's what we're getting in this style game. Now, they have announced some facts. The killers can't be killed. That's what they said. Maybe they can, but they said you don't really want to go after the killers. It's kind of hard or next to impossible to kill the killers, the Sawyer family. Now, that's another fact right there. We are playing as Leatherface, a.k.a. Bubba, Drayton, a.k.a. the cook, and the hitchhiker, a.k.a. Nubbins, from the original movie. Plus, they're adding new killers made up to the story of their game in this game. We don't know the other killers yet, but it's the 3 killers versus the 4 victims. And another fact here is you can't pick multiple of the same characters, which is kind of a bummer, but it makes sense. For this style of game, each character, they said, is going to have their own meta. So it won't work if there's like four of the same kind of meta based characters. It might be next to impossible the way they're setting it up. So that's why they're not allowing people to pick more than one character. So it's kind of like a first come, first serve. And I don't blame them for that. But my work around that to make it so people don't get mad and quit because they don't get the character that they love is I would add tons of victims. Not tons, but maybe like instead of just four, I would add maybe about 11 or 12. So if you don't get the victim character that you want, you could say to yourself, oh, well, I have all these other options here. Oh, well, I've never played that character, but they're pretty cool too, so I'm going to pick that character. So it gives more variety and makes it so people don't just rage and quit because they didn't get their character. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, they could always put a system in the game where it times you out for quitting. Say 5 minutes for the first time, and then 20 minutes second time, 45 minutes third time, and so on. But people get around that too, and people get more mad at that, and they end up like throwing the game away, and they don't want to play it anymore because they're babies. But you can't blame people at the same time if they keep playing the game but they don't get the character that they want. So there's that. I also want to note that this game is a good variety in the mix. If you're into playing Friday the 13th the game, Dead by Daylight, and now Evil Dead the game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre it's similar. It seems similar. I hope it's somewhat similar, but different enough where if you're playing Evil Dead the game, a fast pace battle royale style game, you play that for a couple rounds, you get sick of it, you bounce over to Friday the 13th, and it's very laid back, fun, and cozy. But then you could always go to Texas Chainsaw Massacre where the tension's there, but it's not as chaotic as Evil Dead the game. It gives you some breathing room to sneak around and do your thing and maybe bump into Leatherface with a chainsaw coming after your ass. This is going to be fun. I'm really excited. I'm a huge fan. If you guys didn't know, me and my family flew from Rhode Island, where we live, all the way to Texas and Austin, met up with my friend Josh, and we drove around for a day and a half. We went and visited all the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie locations, including the gas station. Then we went to the main house, but they moved the house from Quick Hill Road, which is no longer there, sadly, to Kingsland, about a 40-minute drive. And we ate inside the house and explored the house. And then after that, we went to Quick Hill Road while it was still there, and we got to see the road and all that stuff, and it was amazing. It was one of the best trips in my book. It was definitely a check off the list to do for horror movie locations for sure. And I'm very excited. I went down there to meet my friend Josh. It was really cool. But yeah, there's that. So I get to appreciate when I'm playing this game, the vibe and the feeling of when we were there, and I can be like, oh, I was there. I was at that gas station. I ate a barbecue sausage grinder behind that gas station. It was epic. You guys, it was awesome. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them. They're in the playlist down below for movie locations on my channel. But moving on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. This game has multiple hiding spots. It seems as if we could duck and crouch and duck and hide outdoors in like weeds or behind a tree. There's actually, they added to the map, so this game isn't 100% accurate because they put underground tunnels, which kind of brings more life to each map and makes it more fun. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how are they going to have the house map? Once you go through that house, it's kind of like, all right, you're inside, you're outside. Okay, where can you really hide after a while? Well, now they have the underground tunnels that lead up throughout underneath the house and kind of outdoors to a well in the outside. So yeah, and there is also a fact that Grandpa is supposed to be a playable character. That's what they announced months ago. I don't know what Grandpa is going to be because they said you can't really play him, but he's going to be a non-playable character, an NPC or a bot. My guess is he's going to be some kind of an alarm or something along those lines where if you run by him, he might see you and notify the other family members. So if you're Leatherface and you're on the other side of the house and somebody's upstairs and they walk by and Grandpa sees them, it might say something to the Leatherface player. Almost like when you're playing Friday the 13th and you walk in the shack and Jason's mom's like, Jason, quick, they're here. So it kind of alerts the family members. That's my guess. But I would think it would be funny if you walked by Grandpa and he started kind of like shaking and moving and he said something to you and looked up at you. That would be freaky as hell. Because that dude in the movie is white as a ghost, man. And he looks like a puppet man. Cheers to Grandpa. My other question about this game is I wonder what beyond killing the victims, I wonder what objectives, or if there's any objectives for the family members, the killers, the Sawyer family. Do they have more to do than just kill the victims? Like in the movie, Drayton, the cook, his job basically he works at the gas station, but he cooks up food, comes home, gets the barbecue ready. Leatherface, he's like the butcher. He does all the dirty work, hacking up the bodies. And then the hitchhiker, he's out and about, strolling around town, digging up graveyards and stuff. What is his objective beyond killing? Is his job is to maybe kidnap some victims and bring them to Bubba? Maybe take pictures. And that's another thing I want to dive into. The Maria Flores story. What is a little fishy that I don't know if anybody really caught on to this, but in the Instagram, you'll notice at the last post they did with the newspaper, when they did the write up underneath the newspaper at the bottom, Maria's mom is basically saying in her story, if anybody out there has pictures of my Maria, this account is like the place to share them with us. And they're kind of like hinting towards something. I think Gunn is hinting towards something. And I just thought about this. What if the hitchhiker accidentally or dropped or whatever pictures of Maria before or even after he killed her throughout the map? What if there's some achievements or trophies if you pick up or find a rare photo of Maria with some blood, like an old Polaroid buried kind of like under the grass near a tree in the field? What if you find one and you get a trophy? Now, is that like a place that you could share your actual photo from the game to the Instagram account? Is that going to be like a thing in this game? I was thinking about that myself, because also at the end of this teaser trailer that's playing behind me, this gameplay trailer, you'll notice that the hitchhiker has a voice line that says, "Hey, Johnny, I like to take pictures of them when I'm done."
Johnny, you ever take pictures of them when you're done? I do. It's real fun.
And I'm like, oh, there's something to do with photos. There's got to be something to do with photos here. So that could be a thing. I don't know. It could be like a pieces of the puzzle about Maria that we find in the game. Who knows? That could be kind of fun too. But yeah, this game, another fact about this game coming up is you can turn lights on and off. And they always say you want to hide in the shadows. Use the shadows. This game is a very stealthy game. It's based after stealth. It's not based like Friday the 13th. You can't just run and grab weapons and let's go kill the killers. It's not like that. Maybe you can knock the killer down for a second to get away a little bit, but that's not what you really want to do. You want to try to sneak past them. So turning lights on and off, if there's a light on, you'd shut it off and you could hide in the shadows, and it might be easier for you to not get seen by these killers. Like I mentioned before, sense probably won't be a thing in this game. So maybe you could accidentally bump into something and trigger like a little bit of an alarm. Like say, what if you go by the little chicken in the living room that they showed? There's a chicken called Nugget the chicken. They're making fun of it. Oh, everybody, look, here's Nugget the chicken. It was announced on Gunn's Twitter. What if you walk in that room and you either walk in front of Nugget or you bump into Nugget and it starts chirping and triggers basically like, oh, somebody's in the bone room with Nugget. Let's go get him. So this game is going to be on your toes, sneaking around, probably going to be quiet at moments, but then all of a sudden you turn around and there's ambient noise or dramatic music coming, because all of a sudden there's like a family member probably standing 2 feet from you that doesn't even see you. Now that to me is a horror IP game. This is going to be terrifying. So far, the music that is written directly from the head lead uh, from Gun Media, Wes Keltner. He's teased it. He showed it. He had a machine built for him, a custom machine called the Apprehension Engine, and it's basically a box with all these strings and different objects built into it, and it's an acoustic machine that you can literally make any noise you want, like some kind of creepy horror, and some of the stuff he's plugged into this machine and created, you guys, is absolutely terrifying. So I want to see what the tension is like playing this game, hearing that music, because without great music, horror movies, imagine watching Halloween or any horror movie with no music, it would be kind of dry. It wouldn't be that like making you sweat and get goosebumps without that music. So that's what this game, I feel like, is going to have a lot of great sound effects, ambient noise, music in the background. This is going to be great. Another thing too is Wes Keltner mentioned he's going to make sure that his game or their game, it's not his, they're a very open company. They want to make sure that this game is made for the streamers. Where what I say when I say made for the streamers, I say there's not going to be any copyright. He wants people to be allowed to stream this on all platforms because they don't believe when streamers do stream a game and they get copyrighted for it. Because, us streamers are the ones pushing these games out there, and we're trying to promote these games for these companies, and we bring the fans, and it's fun, but when they get copyright striked, it's no good. It's no fun, and it's not fair to the streamers. So Gun Interactive is doing a hell of a job making sure there's no copyright issues or legal issues in this game. And to me, that is a very important piece to do, and I'm proud, and I'm good job, Gun. You guys are awesome so far. A lot of people say, Gun, Gun's making this game, I'm not going to play it. Well, Friday the 13th, I'm not going to lie, it had its problems, especially at launch and throughout time. And like there was bugs here and there, but it always gets fixed. They never do us dirty. They always go back. They put their heart and souls into that game. And, a lot of it wasn't even to do with Gun. It was a different company they had hired but moved along. So now they have another company called Sumo Nottingham working on this Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. And Sumo Nottingham, from what I've seen so far, they have some great looking games so far, you guys. And it doesn't seem like they have a bad rap. So I'm excited, and I know Gun knows what to do this time around. They learned some things the hard way. They practice this. They're ready. They're prepped. They're going to do it right this time, and they're excited about it just as much as we are. It's their baby. These guys at Gun are true horror movie fans. I'll say that much. They're not just a company that is money hungry to make a game and be like, oh, let's just see if this works. They're not going to just slap the name and the title on it and call it good. It's not like the Nintendo Jason Friday the 13th game. So here we go. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. Another thing right here, I just showed in the background on that trailer. You see that cooler? I have to say to the community out there, a lot of people, when they saw this, they were like, oh, there's a cooler, and Leatherface caught somebody hiding in the cooler, the deep freezer. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a little weird people think that that's actually a hiding place. I believe the deep freeze cooler is there for Leatherface to throw the victims in and temporarily lock them in. Maybe they have to wait for another survivor to come along and let them out because there's a little latch on it or something. Or maybe they can't get out and Leatherface eventually takes them out and kills them. Or maybe if they're in there for too long, they die because they freeze to death. I think it's kind of weird how people thought it was a hiding place. And if it is, that's weird. And I have to say, if it is a hiding place, I hope that somebody that hides in there, when they come out, they're so cold that they are limping because they're injured now from hiding in a most ridiculous hiding spot. Excuse me, I had a burp. Now, cars in this game are located outside the maps. Obviously, they're not in the door inside, but it looks to me like you could hide in a car or tunnel through a car, open up one door, crawl through as like a Sawyer is coming after you through the back. That's kind of cool, but I just hope it's not one of those like cat and mouse trolling things like people had done in the past with Friday the 13th. It looks like there's bones hanging from doorways that are almost like an alarm if you bump into them. Yeah, this game looks terrifying. I hope so far, I mean, from what I see, the environment's there, the Easter eggs are there, the sounds, the kills, that's another thing. I'm waiting to see a kill trailer from Gun Media. Do you guys remember when Gun Media did the kill trailer for Friday the 13th, the game? It was almost like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long of all these kills. I heard through the grapevine from a convention that Kane Hodder was at. He might have slipped when he said this, but I think I heard him say this game is going to be 3 times more brutal kills than Friday the 13th. Now, that's, you guys, like I said before, I know the original movie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, didn't have much blood or kills in it at all. It didn't show much of anything. It was all a like head thing. It was an emotional piece of art, but for a video game, I think there needs to be a lot of blood and kills to make those moments. I think it needs it, and I'm glad I heard that because I want to see a lot of gore, a lot of blood, twisted kills. The more variety in kills, the better. I mean, it's going to be brutal if we get to play a victim, a killer, and have all these options for kills, whether they're melee kills or animated kills, finish moves, or whatever you want to call them. That would be awesome. But yeah, as far as escaping these maps, we don't really know too much about the escape route. They didn't mention anything like that, but some of us are guessing like to get to the main quick hill road and catch somebody driving by and jump in the back of a truck or something, or maybe one of the other maps you can get into a car and take off somehow if you find keys or something. It also looks like inside the house in this trailer, not Grandpa, Drayton the cook, he's locking a padlock on certain doors. So you might have to find a key in certain dresser drawers just to go through another door into another room. Never mind finish objectives. To get to an objective, you might have to find something to unlock it to get to that objective. So yeah, and if that's the case, I hope keys in items that you need to locate are randomly every match spawned in different locations. And I'm not talking just 3 like Friday the 13th, because players are so good nowadays, they memorize these things. They're like, oh, if that tree is on the left, then the fuse house is over here. Or if this car is over here, then the fuse house is over. You know what I mean? People know ways around it, so they need to randomize this shit more. A few more things before I call this video done, because it's going on 20 minutes and I don't want to bore the hell out of you guys, but I just thought this was a lot of fun. Was also, I hope that there's different collectibles and trophies throughout this game that we can get, even finding more than just empty draws like in Friday the 13th. If there's not a specific item that we actually need, I hope all the draws, I hope it's very lived in. I hope there's little things that you could collect, almost like the Tommy tapes and the Pamela tapes. I hope you can get something to work on a collection to keep us having fun through beyond the objective of the game. There's got to be stuff that keeps fans involved and fun, because once we finish getting max leveled, or whatever we're supposed to do in this game, there's always going to be something to drag us back. Even if it's something little, it's always that one little thing that brings fans back to these games and keeps them interested. And I know there's going to be a lot of updates in the future, because you guys, this franchise is huge. I mean, even part 2 with Chop Top, the underground tunnels at the broken down, abandoned carnival, that would be a crazy awesome map with the radio station. The part 3 map, the big house. You guys, it goes on and on. This franchise is huge, and it could be so many different characters, so many different variations of Leatherface or Chop Top, or even new characters introduced, new modes, game modes, all that stuff. New chainsaws. Maybe you can, in part 2, Lefty gets a giant chainsaw. Maybe part 3, there's a hero chainsaw that comes, the lady in the lake that grabs the saw. You guys, this is gonna be awesome. I cannot wait to chop people up and make me some barbecue. Hell yeah, cheers. There might have been a few more things I wanted to touch base on this game. I know I'm rambling on, but this is a lot of fun to me. And on my channel, this is what it's all about: the horror movies, the games, collectibles, and more. Connecting with the fans and playing these games with you guys. So there hasn't been much news lately on this game since this last gameplay trailer behind me. So I kind of wanted to dive in again and recap. And that's what it's all about. And look at those flowers. Look at the lighting. And that's another thing. In this game, Unreal Engine 5 is not being used on this game. It has been confirmed. They're using Unreal Engine 4 because that's what the developers know and they're comfortable with using. But Unreal Engine 5 had just released this year. And to me, I understand where they're coming from, but there is a new feature on Unreal Engine 5 called illuminated lighting or global lighting. I forget whichever it's called. But basically what it is when light comes down in Unreal Engine 4, it's usually baked into the like a scene, like in a living room. There might be a shadow from like the sun's could be hitting a piece of furniture, and it casts a shadow on the floor. And that basically is stationary, like it's there. It doesn't move. It looks cool, but with Unreal Engine 5, with global lighting, when the sun moves, after time, the shadow moves, and the light illuminates throughout the room correctly. Excuse me. To me, that is freaking awesome because that means every time we play a match, even if it's daytime, depending on what time in the map you're playing it, there might not be a shadow to hide in over there. Now the shadow might be over here or not at all. So it's kind of like every match you play, there's a different experience with hiding spots with global lighting. That would be really cool as hell. But they're not going to do Unreal Engine 5. So I don't know if that is actually going to be a thing where like the sun moves and shadows move. But I thought it was a cool little thing to do. But I mean, I understand learning a whole new engine. It comes with a lot of experience and bugs and this and that and the next thing. So I'm sure they're going to make it fun and a good job. I think that about wraps my video up, unless I think of something for another video down the road. I hope that you can get different outfits for characters. I hope you can get different outfits for the killers, the Sawyers. To a degree, we don't want to make them look silly. We don't want dance emotes either. We don't want those kind of emotes like we had in Friday the 13th because, going to camp, the counselors and, that's one thing, dancing and doing emotes and different skins and Halloween skins and stuff like that. But in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is a whole different serious scenario. This is brutal murders happening in Texas. These people want their food, man. You're on their property. You're the ones trespassing. They're just doing their job. They're getting rid of you. You're not supposed to be on their property. And they're hungry, man. They don't work. They don't got jobs. I don't know if the house is even paid for, man. They just want to eat. And you coming around there messing around, they're just going to chop you up. That's what they do. So I don't blame the Sawyers. I don't blame them at all. I blame you. I just don't want to be a victim. All right, you guys, that about wraps this video up. I thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not liked, subscribed, click notifications to all so you don't miss a video in the future or a live stream. And that's another thing. We go live almost every night or every other night. Join the fun. If you're there and you're in the chat, I'll send you guys an invite to play in the matches with us. And yeah, again, thank you guys so much. And as always, campers, stay out of the woods.